Alright, let's damage this little dude here, or at least his yellow color. And for that we need some curvature bakes or some curvature data. And there are a few ways to get them. So one way is to use the Modo Baker here, the bake section, but the Modo Baker is slow. And when I say slow, I mean slow. It's super slow. Maybe for a mesh like this, it would work within a few hours, I guess, or so. But yeah, it is super slow. So there are a few ways to get them a bit faster. So there are free tools out there. There are paid tools out there, Mighty Bake or Marmoset Toolbag. Arnold Render can do it, I guess. V-Ray or all the render engines can do some bakes. I baked some of these maps, like the AO and the curvature, with a tool and have it here available in the project files. Here the bakes. Here we have the AO and the curvature, but Mari has also some nodes which are doing them this stuff in real time. And sometimes they work well and sometimes they don't work well, but it's worth trying, and we can look what the curvature one is doing. So press tab on the keyboard, type in curvature, and autosave is kicking in. Great, thank you. And we can look through this node, pressing 2 on the keyboard. 2 on the keyboard, yeah, let's go for the output. And it doesn't look too bad, to be honest. I think we can try. We can try it out and see what we are getting, and if it doesn't work, we can still load the bakes, which will work, of course. So I think we can use it. So let's go here, and the first thing we insert a bake point. Why a bake point? The bake points has something really cool going on, and these are the filters. So here, first bake it. Goes anyway pretty fast. And done. We have here the filters. So add here a filter by pressing on it, add filter, and we want to use here the Gaussian. So it will blur a bit here the edges and the pixel data. Maybe something like that is fine. Apply. And we are ready to go. So first thing first, let's insert here a levels node so we can adjust later the midpoint, and a merge node, and we need another levels node. Okay, let's see if we have a texture which we can feed in here. No, we don't have one, but I guess I have one here in the texture source section. This one looks not too bad. Maybe this one as well. I think we can load this, all of them in. As we know, it takes a short amount of time, so great. Scalar, or you can select them, right click, set image color space to scalar. And we can try out, yeah, let's try out this one. This one is anyway from my texture pack, which you can find on my Gumroad. Ooh, shameless advertising here in the founder video. I hope they don't want to kill me because of that. So drag and drop it here into the over slot, and we will get this one here. Let's tile a bit more. The texture itself isn't tileable, but for this purpose where we are using it, it doesn't matter that much. So we don't want, we will not see that much of stuff like that later on when we are doing the mask itself. I think that's cool, but we want to overlay it. Overlay the blend mode, sent by gods. Okay, so now we need to crunch here this map. So double click here, and here it's important to have it as clamped, so we don't get some negative values or values way over 1. And crunch it. Is it? Yeah, it's an overlay. And now we can adjust here the midpoint. Now it's a bit of playing around, so it's a bit different on every texture, it's a bit different on every geometry you have. We can also tile it a bit more. Let's go maybe for 6 times. So we don't want to have this semi-transparent areas here. It also depends how much blur we inserted here on the bake point. So if we give a bit less blur, it will be a bit smaller. So we can adjust this one here, bake point, filter, edit filter, and make it a bit smaller. So a few more edges are coming through here. Maybe something like that. Yeah, as I said, it's a bit of try and error to get a result you like. We can add even more stuff over it. M on the keyboard. Let's go for a cloud. Insert. And here as well, overlay. And play here a bit with the settings. Maybe something like that. Why not? So we are getting here a few different sizes of the breakup, which is what we want. So in reality, nothing has the same distance when it comes to a breakup. So we want different values here. So here it's a bit bigger, it's a bit smaller. So here we don't have any destruction, color destruction. So we are now our destruction artist here. So we have here some completely empty areas. That's what you are looking for. Cool. So let's make it a bit more organized here. I like to work organized, and I highly recommend to you that you like that as well, because yeah, the bigger project, the bigger your node graph will get in absolutely no time. And it's also a good habit to learn how to work organized. So if you are working in a studio and you have to hand over your project file, and the next artist will open it and start crying because you have created a super mess, yeah, they will hate you. So let's see here to get rid of this semi-transparent areas here, crunch it a bit more, something like that. That looks cool. Okay, and we can say, hey, we want to have a bit of custom paint here as well. So we can make here a bit more space. M on the keyboard. And paint node here. And we want to have here an alpha of 0. So we can paint white and black at the same time. Okay, 4K, scalar data. Yes. Insert here into over, and nothing happens if we did it correct. Cool. So now we can enter the paint tool by pressing P on the keyboard, and we have here our brush. So we can change the brush by going here to the shelf. So we can pin it here quickly. So we have here a few little drop downs or collections of brushes. So here, let's go for the hard surface brushes are cool. This one is nice. Double click on it. Yeah, close it. And here with spacebar in the viewport, we can maximize it. Okay, with R on the keyboard and drag with the, I have here a pen. It is the left mouse button, I guess. We can scale it up and down. So let's go here. And here on the side, you can see I have here black selected. By pressing X on the keyboard, it's inverting here the colors. So it's now the white one, but I want to start with the black one. So I will not see here this cut, so I can paint this one here. Okay, and now here comes to something I have forgot to mention at the beginning. Mari is working here with something called a paint buffer. So what the hell is a paint buffer? A paint buffer is a piece of glass which is over your model. So you can paint and you can still adjust it if you have it set it up like I have it. So, and to have a look how it looks like, we can go here to painting. Dock it for a moment. So you have here the settings for the paint buffer. So we have it here on 16-bit. We don't need a 16-bit. We can go for 8-bit. Buffer size, 4K is great. Clamp, yes. Reset on bake, that's what you want. And here, bake behavior. I think the default is auto bake and clear, but I recommend to do clear only. You can also do the manual, but I like to have it on clear only. That means we can paint here. I clear it quickly. So we can paint here some stuff. And by pressing B on the keyboard, it bakes it down and it clears it. If we have it on manual, we can paint, say, okay, that's cool, bake, but it's still stored here in the paint buffer. So you can see here the mask, the actual black spot we have painted is still there. And to clean it, it is Ctrl-Shift-Z. And it's gone now. But I like to have it here as clear only. I don't have that much the use case that I want to have the same stamp over and over again. So here it has also a bunch of other settings like the depth mask you can enable, so it doesn't paint all the way in the depth, so just on a certain level. You can have the edge mask, which is pretty handy. So you can dive through this drop downs and have a look by your own what they are doing. I'm a fan of learning by doing, so that's why I don't did an introduction to the UI at the beginning or that deep, so you will get bored in no time and you will forget all the stuff I have told you after I switched here to another tab. So learning by doing, and try out what the stuff is doing here, or ask some others if you have questions. So the CG community is a pretty helpful one. That's actually pretty nice. Okay, so close it here again. Let's go back again here into our mask madness here. So this one here is a typical procedural created edge, and we don't need this, or we don't want this. Let's break it here a bit. This one here as well. Or let's say here I want to have it on the edge a bit more, so I can press X on the keyboard to switch here to white. Make that one here. So maybe it's a bit easier to see what it's doing with the material. So we can go back here, and here on that stage, it works with the different view spaghettis here. So we can press 1 on the keyboard. Oh, we need to hook it up here to our material, to our mask here. We can do that quickly. So here, select the latest node or the last node, M on the keyboard. And we need this isolation mask from our selection group. We can pipe it in over and here change to multiply. And now hook up here this as a mask. And we need to invert it. Nice. So be careful, we don't want to invert it here, because then we also will invert here this isolation mask. We need to invert it here. Simply type in invert. And now here we go. Look at this nice mask here. So now we can paint some stuff until we are happy. So let's say, hey, let's make it a bit bigger here. Hey, I want to have it a bit more damaged here. And now you can see it a bit better. Now I can still move here the paint buffer and say, okay, now I like this one here a bit more, and now press B on the keyboard and it bakes it down. Pretty nice. So at the beginning, it is maybe a bit frustrating to work that way, because maybe in Substance Painter you can paint directly on the mesh and it follows the normals of the mesh, which is actually a cool thing. But this method here is also very cool, and you can see that later when it comes to project painting. And trust me, as more as you are painting here in Mari, you will get familiar with that, and it is right in the muscle memory, and it goes so fast, so you won't notice that anymore in a bad way. So it is actually a very cool one. So if you have painted a bit wrong, you can still adjust it here a bit until you are happy and bake it. Yeah, let's say I want to have here even more damage. And now you can break the procedural looking mask here by adding some hero paint. I can do that the whole day. I like that a lot. Yeah, look, that's what I mean with they are all the same size. So that will make the viewer look it instantly as computer generated, which we don't want. Huh? So let's make it here a bit smaller. Let's make it here a bit bigger. Try to think around why this damaged here this way. Does it make sense? You can also try to break it up even more with some textures. But yeah, I will do it now this way. I'm here to show you the basic techniques. It's up to you to refine them on your own time. Otherwise, the duration of this tutorial will be a week or so, and yeah, no one wants to see that, to be honest. So I will move on here now, because yeah, as I said, otherwise the video will go too long. But one thing we want to do quickly is a little trick here, a little trick, not a trick. So here you can see the bump, it doesn't look right, so it is on the same level, which doesn't make sense. So the color has a thickness as well, and we can fake that. We can fake that pretty easily. So we can select here the bake node, the bake point, and press D to disable it, and we can jump here inside of the metal node or the metal material, and we can simply grade down a bit here the bump by selecting the merge and type in levels. You can also use a grade node, but I like the levels node here. Double click on it and bring it a bit down. It looks a bit pixelated here. We can view the actual mask or the actual bump map by selecting here the bump node, 2 on the keyboard, and we can see what's going on here. Oh, now you can see I'm boosting it in the wrong direction. So we know whatever is white will come out, whatever is black goes in. Something like that. Cool. Now let's bake this one again. Now you can see it's red, and the red will tell you, hey, there's something going on here which change it. So please rebake me. And it is smart enough to just bake here the broken input. So just bake, and it's green again, and Mari is happy. So I recommend to bake these masks as well, but we don't need a multi-bake point here. The single bake point is fine. That's great. Okay, and bake it. And here we go. Let's have it a bit better organized here. And we want a backdrop. Select them all, tab on the keyboard, type in backdrop, and rename it to something like edge damage. We can give them a cool color or not, whatever you want. And as I said, I like to have my mask stuff right over the merge so I can see that's driving here, this one here. So yeah, we can view here our shader again. And that's where we are. We get a little bump here. And you can go and paint here until you are happy and add some details. Try around with even more textures if you want. Don't go too crazy. So just stay basic and think around, or think about where it makes sense to add, where to not add damage and stuff like that. And we see you in the next video.